Hello everyone, Rob Harmon from DSC and Qolsys. I'd like to thank everybody for joining our CANASA education session today. This is our first one, so I appreciate everybody. And again, we don't know this is our first one. I could be speaking to one person, could be speaking to 50, hopefully closer to 50, but nevertheless, we really appreciate you joining us today. And without further ado, we're going to get started. Just to give you a quick snapshot of the things we're going to be covering off in the presentation today. One, I always like taking a look at some of the online resources because I really believe they're underutilized and they've got some really powerful stuff for you to use. Secondly, we're going to take a look at the recent developments with the PowerSeries Pro and how it's expanded its line. Talk about the Power G product line and how they've had some new additions over the last little bit. Talk about the latest with the Qolsys IQ panel. And their new addition, that new IQ Power G hardwire. And lastly, we're going to talk about DSC's Connect 24 communicators and an update to them that's pretty exciting, but I'm going to save that for the end, and I think that's something you're going to want to stick around for and hear about. So let's get started. As mentioned, I want to spend some time talking about the great online resource that we have available for you. m.dsc or dsc.com, whether you're on a laptop or a mobile, it's the same. But if you want to have access to the installation manuals, user manuals, reference guides, they're all there. If you're using a mobile device, you have the ability to save the link to your home screen. Now it looks like you have a DSC app on your phone and you're always going to be logged in. You have the ability to download all those manuals we're talking about, end user, installation, reference manuals, and you have the ability to search them. So if I want to figure out how do I bypass, you type in bypass, and then what it's going to do is bring you all to the different sections in that manual that would have bypass. You can also take those and save them to your library. So you pick the top manuals that you might be working on for the last 10 years, download all of their installations and user manuals, and if you have an end user call you saying, listen, can I get an end user manual? You just very easily send it off to them, and it's taken care of like that. So I'm not sure if you noticed a couple slides ago there was the get help bubbles that were on the screenshots. It's something that we've had for a while, and I don't think a lot of people are taking advantage of this tool. It's DSC's live chat. The people that have been using it have been saying it's been very quick and great and easy to use. I saw this picture on a Facebook group and I thought it was pretty funny and applicable, and it got me thinking maybe I should be sharing our live chat and how quick and easy it is. What you do is you simply go to dsc.com, and whether you're on a mobile device or a laptop, it looks the exact same. The important thing to remember is make sure you're logged in. And when you're logged in, these little bubbles pop up, get help. And when you just simply click on the button, and then you simply start filling out the information, your first and last name, your email address, your company name, which panel you're working on, because they want to make sure they get you to the right representative to help you out. And then you type in your question. So I'll be working with Dennis here. I'm going to type in how many partitions on the Pro 248 panel. This tool is great for not only like a technician who's on site trying to get an answer to a technical problem, but it's also great for salespeople. How many partitions, how many user codes, things like that. Also, I used to work in distribution. This would have been great in distribution rather than flipping through catalogs or calling tech support and trying to get somebody. You simply type in your question. Within a minute or two, the answer comes back to you, and then you can move on to your next part. We've also had a ton of requests for people looking to get their signed up to get more information from DSC, whether it be advisories or new product announcements or discontinuances. We have that available now. Simply dsc.com again. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's that register to receive DSC updates and news by email. You click that, and then you could actually, while you do that, you fill out your information. You can choose Cantech, Exact, Lustra, things like that. Whatever you want to be notified on, you check them off, and now you'll be added to our email distribution list. Qolsys.com. If you're not registered as a dealer here, you really need to be. The Qolsys marketing team has done a phenomenal job of building a ton of great resources that you'll find useful. Whether it's content for your websites, they've got a ton of videos, they've got a ton of literature, they got targeted literature campaigns, all the images you'd want to, anything you need for your website, they've got on here for you, ready to help you build. We talked about live chat for DSC. Qolsys also has that on their site. And the other thing they have that I think is tremendous is the online training. Training for both sales and technical. There are modules that you have to pass one by one to be able to go to the next level. Once you're completed, you'll be able to print a certificate off saying you've completed the trainings. But really great content here on how to install and how to sell not only the IQ panel, but also intrusion in general. So really, really great content. Highly recommend you getting your new sales and even experienced sales and technical people in for this training. It's going to save you a lot of time and make you stronger in the field. Just a quick snapshot of your DSC sales coverage for the Canadian market. In the Western region, we have Mr. Kevin Hinks out of Vancouver. Our newest addition, Scott Dry out of Calgary on the technical sales training. Awesome addition. We're excited to have Scott a part of the team. We also have in the Ontario region, we have Jowie Wang for sales, located here in Toronto. Adrian Apong on the technical sales side. In Quebec and Eastern Canada, we have Chris Hollins on the sales side. And we have Pierre Vachon for the technical sales training for Eastern Canada. We have Mr. Aaron Parr here out of Toronto as well. He's our corporate account sales manager for the Canadian market. We got myself, Rob Harmon, Director of Sales Canada. And then one of our other latest additions, Mr. Neil Jones out of Edmonton, Director of Technology. He knows Qolsys better than most people at Qolsys, and he knows Alarm.com better than most people at Alarm.com. So an awesome addition to the team, and he's a tremendous resource for us. So that's your Canadian coverage, and we are here ready to help. If you need anybody's contact information or need to reach out to anybody, my email is going to come up in a couple of slides. I'd be happy to get you in contact with them. Taking a quick look at our PowerG lineup, we already had a pretty full suite of products, but we've been adding to it, and we will continue to add to it for many years to come. But for that are new to the market, I want to make sure everybody's kind of aware of them if they're not already. One, we have that outdoor contact, spec for -40. Got a really good wide gap magnet to it, and you have the ability to hardwire a device into it. We then got a couple different overhead motions or 360 or occupancy sensors, depending on how you want to label it. Depending on which one you order, they have different mounting heights for different coverages. We also released an outdoor motion detector, just like the contact, spec for -40. That outdoor motion's a curtain. So if you want to maybe put it on your porch, and trip camera recordings, maybe your video doorbell is too sensitive, so you have that disabled until they push the button. So now you can trip camera recordings with this, or put this at the side of your house on the fence. If anybody's walking back there after hours, or when the system's armed in the stay or the away mode, you want to be alerted or notified or trip a camera recording. And then also this guy here is the new commercial contact or high traffic contact. We had people putting that PG 9945 on high traffic areas and getting not ideal battery life. So this one was completely re-engineered and designed to have significantly higher traffic and significantly higher battery life for those high traffic areas. So if you haven't given that a try, make sure you take a look. What is PowerSeries Pro? PowerSeries Pro is our large commercial industrial control panel. We have the PowerSeries Neo, which is fantastic for residential, small commercial, medium-sized commercial. But the PowerSeries Pro is really our next level, large commercial, industrial. And what we've been doing is we've been taking a lot of the feedback from what the field has been asking for many, many years. We've put that into the PowerSeries Pro plus a whole bunch more. So we have 3 flavors of this panel. We have a 32 zone panel, 128 zone, and a 248 zone panel. So up to 248 zones, up to 32 partitions, 1,000 user codes. We put things that, again, they've been asked for a while: onboard Ethernet, enhanced triple line end-of-line resistance, anti-masking technology. Of course, it supports PowerG, just like our PowerSeries Neo and the Qolsys lines. It's got removable terminal strips to make it a little easier when you're on site and you have to make a change. Programmable hardwire zone resistance, which is that's a huge one. Gives you the ability, if you're doing a takeover of a large commercial site where they've got a whole bunch of resistors at different points of a building, rather than having to go to each different point and change out those resistor values, you simply tell the panel, look for this value of resistance, and you set it all done in programming. Onboard 2 amp power supply. That's, again, a lot of times where you're doing these commercial jobs, you need multiple power supplies. You got 2 amps of power right on board, right out of the gate, to save you that additional wiring and that additional cost. Everything's got end-to-end encryption, the bus, the communication, the wireless technology in PowerG. And now there's USB connectors Type A and Micro B, and I'm going to tell you what some of those are used for in a couple slides. As far as keypads, if you know the PowerSeries Neo, they've got the exact same look and feel, just different part numbers. I don't know if you can see there closely. You've got make sure there's Pro at the end of the part number, PRO, Pro at the end of each part, and those will be your PowerSeries Pro keypads. And then you got your PowerSeries Neo; those have N at the end. So we want N for Neo, Pro for Pro. But yeah, you got your touchscreens just like you're used to on the Neo and the PowerSeries. Full LCD keypads there and wire-free keypads. Just make sure they got Pro at the end of the part number. Taking a look at the different modules you can connect to the core bus, you have the ability to use all your existing power supplies and zone expanders on Neo. We do have new Pro zone expanders and power supplies if you want that specialty zone resistance that we talked about. But again, you can use the host. You can use a lot of your PowerSeries Neo modules on this Pro system. There's just a couple variances like we talked about the keypads, and there is a new communicator. But besides that, same technology. One other advancement, and this was just simply feedback from the field, we created a Wi-Fi dongle, which creates a hotspot. And instead of having to plug your laptop directly into the control panel, which could prove challenging in a lot of different environments that you're installing, this creates that hotspot, so now I can connect via Wi-Fi with my DLS, or we have an install app, which I'm showing you next. The app's called Alarm Install, and it's available on both the iOS and Android stores. It's just like programming via keypad, but a whole bunch quicker because of the user interface. We're actually going to be hosting trainings on it next week. Mr. Adrian Apong, his information is right there as well as mine. But next Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time, from 9 to 9:30, it's going to be a quick training, get you trained up very fast. And then again at 11 to 11:30, both those trainings are Eastern Standard Times. Email myself or Adrian if you'd like to be added to those trainings. Taking a quick look now at the IQ2 Plus, my favorite panel. I think you can take a look at the screen here, why it would be. So many features, the best user experience in the marketplace. When I got this delivered to my house, I was super excited to open it up and get it in. That was a couple of years ago. And since then, they've been pushing updates seems like every quarter. Things like live answer on your control panel. So somebody rings your Sky Bell, it pops up on the screen. You can have that two-way voice conversation back and forth, and then unlock the front door for them if you want. So feature-rich. They continually push new software updates that just provide end users with great user experiences for years to come. One of those additions is that IQ PowerG hardwire module. It's been in the market probably for about 3-4 months now. What this does is, how many times have I heard over the years, it would be great if I had a wireless zone expander or a wireless output module. So not only is it wireless, it's PowerG wireless. So it's going to give you that crazy range that you're just going to be able to challenge so many obstacles that you wouldn't have thought possible before. So 8 zones on board. You have the ability to pair 2 of these per Qolsys panel. So it gives you a total of 16 zones. Supports 4 PGMs per unit. You have the ability to do life safety zones, which is like you're taking over 4-wire smokes or COs. You have the ability to do those as well. There's an onboard output for the bell. And we're working hard, and hopefully by the time this video comes out, we'll have further information, but looking for hardwire keypad support. That should be hopefully by the end of the year. One thing that it does is it gives you that ability of a flexible install, not having to worry about, well, if I'm doing this panel, I need this hardwire module. If I'm doing this panel, I need this module. So no matter what flavor you're doing, you've got the gold, silver, and red. So the 319 panel, which is the Qolsys and Interlogix frequency, the 345, which is a silver panel, which is 2 gig in Honeywell, and then of course the 433, the red one there, does that technology. The PowerG hardwire module works on all 3 panels, as well as on that gold 319 panel, you have the ability to use their hardwire. So you can use 2 of ours plus a bunch of theirs. They have the ability to do up to the panel max. We've done a lot of different webinars on this, but and I could spend the whole presentation easily just covering off this module. But just keep in mind, take anything you want. We've got a really good suite of products on the PowerG line, really full, but there might be something we don't have, like beam detectors or natural gas. And people are saying, well, it'd be great if I had a wireless version of that. Well, now you can. You can take any hardwire device and take that input or output and make it PowerG. Software updates and the benefits they deliver to your end user, I think there's lots of good examples, but one that I always like to use is just look at the development of the panel camera and where that's gone to. So day one, it simply took disarm photos, successful or unsuccessful. So if it's a good, successful disarm, it highlighted in green, stored it on the panel, and also emailed out to the user via text or email. Unsuccessful did the same thing, but highlights it in red, so you're able to see if somebody's playing around with your system that they shouldn't. Then they did a simple software update, which now supported a 4-minute video recording upon alarm events. So system goes into alarm, it takes a 4-minute video clip, stores that in the panel. Then they did a software update that allowed you to do live peek-in. So if anytime I want to check out my business or my home, I can request an image, it sends that to my phone and stores it in the cloud, also stores it on the panel. But if nobody's there, and you say, you know what, I want to see who's there, next time somebody walks in front of that, so next motion, it does a peek-in, it stores the picture on the panel and also emails out to the cloud. The same thing goes for your disarm photos. You know, if somebody's disarming with their lock or disarming with their phone and maybe in the car before they enter, you don't want a picture of a wall or nothing. So you can say hold disarm photos for the next motion. So somebody disarms in their car, walks in the front door. As soon as they walk in, he gets a picture. It's good for commercial environments. You know who's arming and disarming the system coming and going. So one other thing I almost forgot to mention, it has the ability to work as like a motion detector for scenes. So you can say it maybe at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock, whatever, after hours, if somebody walks in front of their panel camera, it can turn a light on in the front hall for 5 minutes. So whole bunch of different features that weren't there day one, but delivered for years after. Another example of some more software updates, you have the ability to have 4 partitions. That wasn't there day one. It was a software update, 4 partition, industry first to have that many partitions. I think it was industry first for 2 partitions, but they gave you 4. We also knew that if we're going to be doing multi-partitions, you're going to be in more commercial applications where multi-partitions come into play. So we wanted to make sure screen lock was in there. So there wasn't day one. Yeah, we pushed that software update. Now it has screen lock. We also wanted support for the PowerG sensors. Not there day one. Adding a card and pushing the software update now supports PowerG. We also talked about all the remote disarm photos and what benefits they bring. We talked a little earlier about live answer. Not there day one, but it was a software update they pushed down where, again, if you have an alarm.com Skybell, somebody rings the doorbell, it pops up on your screen, you have the ability to answer it, have that two-way voice conversation with whoever's there, and if you have a lock associated to that panel, you have the ability to unlock it right from the control panel. Along with live answer came live view. So if you have alarm.com cameras, you have the ability to view those on your Qolsys panel. If you have alarm.com cameras that support voice, not only can you view those, you can also have the two-way voice conversations right on your Qolsys panel. I have a couple alarm.com cameras in my house, had them for a couple of years. This software update came out, and I was able to take advantage of this. So at our house, me and my wife have date night every Friday, usually watching Survivor or whatever show we're watching. We would take turns taking a look at hearing the baby monitor go off, indicating that our son's out of bed. We'd pull up the alarm.com app, and we'd take turns running up and down the stairs to tell Jack to get back into the bed. Now with the alarm.com app or your Qolsys panel, if the camera supports the two-way voice, you have the ability to say, Jack, and he says, yes, Dad. I go, what are you doing, bud? And he goes, playing with my cars. I go, Jack, put your cars down, get back into bed. So you see him put them down and get back into bed. Now this was very early on in the process. It only worked for so long. He figured out the voice and the camera, and I guess what that meant, and he started throwing things at the camera after we started telling him to go back to bed. But a very useful tool, and it gives you an example of the different applications you'll be able to use it in. One other feature that's unique to Qolsys, and again, we could spend the whole presentation covering Qolsys as well, but we have the 9944 outdoor motion detector on PowerG, spec for -40 on PowerSeries Neo and Pro. Just works like a motion that takes pictures upon alarm events. Takes 10 pictures, transmits those to the stations. With Qolsys, they wrote the drivers that give you the ability to do live peeking. So if I want to request an image at any time, it just works like those image sensors that they have at alarm.com. If I want to take a picture at any time to see what's going on at the premise or on site, request that image. If nobody's there and I want to get an image of the next person that walks by, I can do live peeking at next motion. All right, so unique to the Qolsys line, and you can get those pictures on the app, or they can be sent to the control panel for viewing. And last but not least, this is the part that I saved for the end because I think it's pretty exciting for the Canadian market. Our DSC Connect 24 communicators, like the 2080s and the 40 LE 4010s, we're going to be releasing early new year, probably available to purchase from distribution in February. Communicators with Bell SIM cards. So I know provinces like Saskatchewan, and I know the East Coast has much better Bell coverage than they do Rogers. And I know just different parts of the country where they may have Rogers is stronger or Bell stronger. You're going to have all of our communicators that are DSC Connect 24. They will have the ability to have that Bell SIM card built into them. Well, that's the end of the presentation. I want to thank everybody for joining the education session today. We really appreciate your time and business. Thank you. If there's anything you need at all, my email address is there. Please feel free to email me. I'll get you in contact with the right department or person or whatever you need from DSC. We're here to help. Thank you very much, and hope you have a great rest of the show.